In 1983, TSR released a module that diverged from their standard line of sprawling fantasy epics. It was designated O1, the Gem and the Staff. As this animated timer shows, the game enforces a strict, real-world 30-minute deadline. Players cannot spend hours cautiously checking for traps. Instead, the ticking clock dictates success, with every action, from picking locks to avoiding combat, tracked through a rigid points-based scoring system. To facilitate this rapid tournament pace, players placed cardboard standees directly onto a pre-printed grid map, allowing the dungeon master to instantly track movement. This was designed as a precision-engineered heist, but a close reading of the text reveals fundamental structural flaws that compromise the entire experience. The first major glitch appears in Room C. The ceiling contains a trap designed specifically to drop paint on invisible intruders to reveal their location. Eric the Bowl has zero access to invisibility items, making the paint trap impossible to trigger. Similarly, in the Ogre Den, the game suggests casting ventriloquism on a roasting steak to scare ogres, a logical impossibility. These logic gaps exist despite the game being produced by elite designers at the height of D&D's popularity. Finding the cause requires an investigation into the module's underground origins. 5 years before its official release, the hobby was defined by a grassroots convention circuit. Groups like the Metro Detroit Gamers operated in a gritty, amateur-driven environment, hosting their own events and publishing specialized scenarios. In 1978, organizers John and Laurie van de Graaf wrote a tournament adventure for WinterCon 7 titled Quest for the Fazzlewood. In this original version, the protagonist was a complex hybrid, a multi-classed fighter, magic user, and thief, granting intrinsic spellcasting abilities. Because they could cast spells naturally, puzzles were solved logically using innate abilities. The original design was built specifically around this versatile toolset. Under its original 1970s rule set, Fazzlewood functioned as a coherent and lethal tournament challenge. By 1983, the environment had changed. Dungeons & Dragons had expanded from convention halls into mainstream toy stores and suburban shopping malls. A new wave of younger players entered the hobby, struggling to find the large groups of peers traditionally required for a standard game session. TSR responded by acquiring the rights to Fazzlewood and rebranding it for their experimental one-on-one series, a product line designed for just a single player and a dungeon master. To make the amateur tournament module compatible with their beginner-friendly rulebooks, the adventure underwent a rapid mechanical translation. The friction began here. TSR's corporate rules didn't support the multi-class protagonist, so editors stripped the character into a standard, non-magical thief. To compensate, TSR gave the character a ring that injected a list of specific, pre-selected spells into their inventory. This explains the paint trap. While the editors updated the character's inventory, they neglected to update the room descriptions, leaving behind a trap designed for abilities the player no longer possessed. Cultural pressures also influenced the rewrite. At the height of the Satanic Panic, TSR began scrubbing violent and occult imagery from their products to maintain a family-friendly image. In the 1978 puzzle, ogres were roasting a human corpse. Making that body speak gave the ogres a logical reason to flee in terror. By sanitizing the corpse into a slab of beef, TSR rendered the puzzle's logic absurd. These glitches represent the physical friction of corporate translation, the literal marks of an amateur tournament scenario being forced through a high-volume retail filter. The product was a commercial failure. Consumers were unwilling to pay full retail price for an adventure that provided only 1 hour of gameplay with no replay value. TSR abandoned the one-on-one series shortly after, leaving O1 as an evolutionary dead end in the history of tabletop design. However, the module remains a critical Rosetta Stone for historians of the hobby. The text documents the exact moment the industry's gritty, grassroots wargaming roots collided with the sanitized mandates of 1980s corporate publishing. O1 survives as a testament to the hobby's willingness to experiment with ticking clocks, capturing the visible scars of an industry in transition.